The Fenzen 1. The life you want begins with the person you becoming. Let me ask you something. How many times have you prayed for a better life, a better opportunity, a healthier relationship, financial freedom, peace of mind, a future that finally feels different from your past? Now ask yourself this. Possess. Have you been becoming the person who is ready to receive those blessings? Because here's something powerful to understand. God doesn't just prepare blessings for people. He prepares people for blessings. So we often believe that if our circumstances changed, then our lives would finally improve. We think, if I could just get that promotion, then I'd be happier. If I met the right person, then I'd feel complete. If I had more money, then everything would fall into place. But God works differently. Before He changes your situation, He changes your heart. Before He opens a new door, He strengthens your character. Before He gives you greater responsibility, He teaches you greater discipline. The greatest transformation always begins within. Think about it. A seed doesn't become a mighty tree overnight. It spends time growing beneath the surface where no one can see it. Long before anyone admires its strength, it develops deep roots. Those roots are what allow it to survive storms. Your life works the same way. Right now, you may feel like nothing is happening. You may feel overlooked, forgotten, or stuck in a season that doesn't make sense. But just because you can't see growth doesn't mean growth isn't happening. God is building roots. Every challenge is developing patience. Every disappointment is teaching resilience. Every unanswered prayer is strengthening your faith. Every obstacle is shaping the person you need to become. Sometimes we become so focused on asking God to change our circumstances that we forget He is using those very circumstances to change us. And that's where real transformation begins. Ask yourself every morning, who am I becoming? Not, what am I getting? But, who am I becoming? Are you becoming more patient than you were yesterday? Are you becoming more disciplined with your time? Are you becoming more grateful, even when life isn't perfect? Are you becoming someone who chooses faith instead of fear? Because your future is not determined only by what happens to you. It is determined by the person you decide to become through everything that happens. Here's the beautiful truth. If the version of you that God is preparing for tomorrow is stronger than the version of you standing here today, the pain you're experiencing isn't meant to destroy you. It is meant to refine you. The waiting isn't punishment, it is preparation. The struggles aren't proof that God has forgotten you. They are proof that He is still working on you. Don't underestimate the quiet seasons of your life. Those seasons often produce the greatest growth. The world celebrates instant success, but God values lasting transformation. He isn't interested in giving you a blessing that your character can't sustain. He wants your success to last. He wants your peace to remain. He wants your purpose to have a strong foundation. That is why He works on you before He works through you. So instead of asking God, when will my life change? Begin asking, God, who do you want me to become? Because when you become the person God is calling you to be, the life you've been praying for begins to unfold in ways you never imagined. Keep growing when no one is watching. Keep choosing integrity when shortcuts seem easier. Keep showing kindness when life feels unfair. Keep building discipline even when motivation fades. Keep trusting God's timing even when you cannot see the full picture. One day you'll look back and realize that the greatest miracle wasn't just that your circumstances changed. It was that you changed first, and when that inner transformation takes place, everything else begins to follow. Remember this, the life you want doesn't begin with a change in your circumstances. It begins with a change in your character, and when you allow God to shape the person you are becoming, you'll discover that He has been preparing you for a life greater than anything you ever imagined. Phase 2. Every delay is quietly preparing your greatest breakthrough. Have you ever found yourself asking, God, why is this taking so long? Maybe you've been praying for months. Maybe you've been waiting for years. You've done everything you know to do. You've stayed faithful. You've worked hard. You've kept believing. Yet it feels like the answer is still out of reach. And when life doesn't move as quickly as we hoped, it's easy to think that something has gone wrong. But what if the delay isn't a denial? What if the waiting season isn't a sign that God has forgotten you, but proof that He is preparing something bigger than you can currently see? Here's a truth that can change the way you look at every difficult season. God's timing is never late, and it is never rushed. It is always purposeful, and we live in a world that celebrates speed. Everyone wants instant success, instant results, instant recognition, instant answers. We expect everything to happen quickly, and when it doesn't, we begin to doubt ourselves. We wonder if we've missed our opportunity. We compare our journey with someone else's and ask, why is their life moving forward while mine seems to be standing still? But comparison steals your peace because you're comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's highlight reel. God isn't writing their story. He's writing yours, and your story has its own perfect timing. Think about the strongest buildings in the world. Before anyone sees the beautiful structure above the ground, workers spend months laying a deep foundation beneath it. During that time, it may look like nothing is happening. People pass by and see only dirt, concrete, and unfinished work. But the builders understand something important. The taller the building, the deeper the foundation must be. Your life is no different. If God is preparing you for greater responsibility, greater influence, greater opportunities, or greater blessings, then He must first build the strength to carry them. Without preparation, success can become a burden instead of a blessing. That is why delays often become classrooms. They teach patience when you want immediate answers. They build endurance when you feel like giving up. They strengthen faith when there is no visible evidence. They develop wisdom that could never be learned during easy seasons. Sometimes God delays the opportunity because He knows you are still becoming the person who can fully handle it. Imagine receiving everything you've prayed for before you were emotionally ready, spiritually mature, or mentally strong enough to protect it. Would it truly be a blessing? Or would it become something you eventually lose because you weren't prepared to keep it? God doesn't simply want to give you something. He wants you to be ready for it. That is why waiting is never wasted when it is placed in God's hands. Some of the greatest transformations happen in seasons where nothing appears to be changing on the outside. While you're waiting, your perspective is changing, your character is changing, your priorities are changing, your faith is becoming stronger. And one day you'll realize that the person who entered the waiting season is not the same person who came out of it. The delay transformed you. There are moments when closed doors feel like rejection. You apply for the opportunity, and it doesn't happen. You pray for the relationship, and it ends. You hope for the breakthrough, but another obstacle appears. In those moments, remember this: a closed door isn't always God's way of saying no. Sometimes it's His way of saying, not yet, because I'm protecting you from something you cannot see or preparing you for something far better. A trust becomes most powerful when you cannot explain what God is doing. Anyone can believe when everything is working out. Real faith is choosing to trust, even when the answers haven't arrived, even when the path feels uncertain, even when the calendar keeps moving, but your breakthrough hasn't appeared. Don't measure God's faithfulness by the speed of your progress. Measure it by the way He continues to strengthen you, guide you, and shape you every single day. Every lesson you're learning now will become valuable later. Every challenge is building resilience. Every disappointment is increasing your wisdom. Every obstacle is strengthening your courage. Nothing is meaningless. Nothing is wasted. God has a remarkable ability to weave every setback, every tear, every unanswered prayer, and every difficult season into a future that is stronger, wiser, and more purposeful than you could have imagined. So, if you're in a season of waiting today, don't let frustration convince you to quit. Don't mistake silence for absence. Don't confuse delay with defeat. Keep praying, keep preparing, keep improving, keep showing up. Keep believing that even when you cannot see progress, progress is still taking place beneath the surface. Because one day the breakthrough you've been waiting for will arrive. And when it does, You'll understand why it couldn't have happened any sooner. You'll look back at every delay, every obstacle, and every moment of uncertainty and realize they were never standing in your way. Fessor, they were quietly preparing the way. So hold on to hope. Stay faithful through the waiting. Remain patient in the process. Because every delay is quietly preparing your greatest breakthrough. And when God's perfect timing meets your prepared heart, everything can change in a single moment. Proverbs 3. Let go of what no longer belongs in your future. Let me ask you a question that could change your life. What are you still holding on to that God has been asking you to release? Sometimes we pray for a new season while refusing to let go of the old one. We ask God to open new doors, but we keep standing in front of doors He has already closed. We pray for peace while holding on to resentment. We ask for purpose while clinging to fear. We ask for growth while refusing to leave our comfort zone. Here's the truth. It says you cannot fully embrace your future if your hands are still tightly holding onto your past. One of the hardest parts of faith is not believing that God can bless you. The hardest part is trusting Him enough to release what no longer belongs in your life. Letting go is difficult because the familiar feels safe. Even when something is unhealthy, we often hold on to it because we know it. We become comfortable with situations that no longer help us grow. We stay attached to old habits because they've become routine. We continue carrying emotional burdens because we've carried them for so long that they feel like part of our identity. But just because something has been part of your life for years doesn't mean it belongs in your future. Growth requires courage. Transformation requires surrender, and every new season requires leaving something behind. Think about a tree during autumn. Before new leaves can appear, the old ones must fall. The tree doesn't fight the process. It doesn't cling to leaves that have already served their purpose. It lets them go because it knows another season is coming. In the same way, God may be asking you to release something, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Maybe it's the fear that constantly tells you you're not good enough. Maybe it's the guilt from mistakes you've already asked forgiveness for. Maybe it's a relationship that continually pulls you away from the person God is calling you to become. Maybe it's bitterness from someone who hurt you years ago. Maybe it's the habit of comparing your life to everyone else's. Or maybe it's the belief that your best days are already behind you. Whatever it is, ask yourself honestly, is this helping me become the person God created me to be? If the answer is no, perhaps it's time to let it go. One of the greatest lies we believe is that holding on gives us control. In reality, holding on often keeps us trapped. Holding on to anger doesn't hurt the person who offended you. It steals your peace. Holding on to fear doesn't protect your future. It limits it. Holding on to regret doesn't rewrite yesterday. It prevents you from fully living today. God never intended for you to carry burdens that He is willing to carry for you. Sometimes the greatest act of faith isn't taking another step forward. It's finally putting down the weight you've been carrying for far too long. Remember this, every blessing has a cost. Not always a financial cost, not always a physical cost. But often the cost is your willingness to leave behind the version of yourself that can no longer go where God is leading you. There are moments when God closes a chapter, and instead of thanking Him for protecting us, we spend months trying to reopen the page. We revisit old conversations, we replay old disappointments, we relive old failures, we keep asking, what if? Meanwhile, God is saying, look ahead. I have something greater waiting for you. The future cannot be fully experienced by someone who is constantly living in yesterday. That's why forgiveness is so powerful. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It doesn't mean saying what someone did was acceptable. It means refusing to allow yesterday's pain to control tomorrow's purpose. Forgiveness sets your heart free. Faith moves your eyes forward. Hope gives you the courage to keep walking. Sometimes God removes people from your life because He sees what you cannot. Not every goodbye is a loss. Some goodbyes are protection. Some endings are preparation. Some closed doors are acts of mercy that you won't fully understand until much later. Trust that if God removes something from your life, He has a reason. And if He asks you to release something, He intends to replace it with something better. That doesn't mean the process won't hurt. It may. There may be tears. There may be moments when you question everything. But temporary pain often leads to lasting peace. Temporary surrender often opens the door to permanent growth. Don't let fear convince you to stay where you've already outgrown. Don't let comfort stop you from becoming who God created you to be. Your future is too valuable to be controlled by your past. Today, make a decision. Release the fear, release the bitterness, release the guilt, release the comparison, release the disappointment. Release every lie that tells you your life can never change. Instead, choose faith over fear. Choose forgiveness over resentment. Choose hope over despair. Choose purpose over comfort. Because every time you let go of something that no longer belongs in your future, you create room for the incredible things God has been preparing all along. So don't be afraid to release what is behind you. Walk forward with confidence. Trust God's direction. Believe that His plans are greater than your fears. And remember this powerful truth. Sometimes God changes everything in your life, not by adding more, but by lovingly removing what no longer belongs in your future. When you trust Him enough to let go, you make room for the life He has always intended for you. Matthew 4. Walk by faith before you see the evidence. Let me ask you something. What if the greatest miracle of your life is already on its way, but it requires you to keep walking before you can see it? That is one of the hardest lessons in life. Most people are willing to believe as after they see results. Most people are willing to trust as after the door opens. Most people are willing to move as after they know everything will work out. But faith doesn't work that way. As faith comes first, the evidence comes later. If you only believe when you can already see the outcome, that isn't faith. That's certainty. Faith is choosing to trust God when the future is still hidden. It is taking one more step when you can't see the entire path. It is waking up every morning with hope, even when yesterday gave you every reason to quit. Think about how often we want God to reveal the entire journey before we're willing to begin. We say, God, show me exactly how everything will happen, and then I'll trust you. But God often says, trust me first, and I'll reveal the next step. Notice something important. God usually doesn't give us the whole map. He gives us enough light for the next step. Why? Because if we could see every detail of the future, we wouldn't need faith. We would only need sight. Faith teaches us to depend on God instead of depending on our own understanding. There will be seasons when nothing around you seems to be changing. The prayers you've been praying still seem unanswered. The opportunities you've been waiting for still haven't appeared. The breakthrough you've hoped for still feels distant. In those moments, doubt begins to whisper. It tells you that nothing is happening. It tells you to stop believing. It tells you that you've waited long enough. But don't confuse God's silence with God's absence. Just because you cannot see Him working doesn't mean He has stopped working. Think about a farmer. After planting seeds, the farmer doesn't dig them up every morning to check whether they're growing. The farmer keeps watering, keeps caring, keeps believing. Why? Because growth happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible. Your life often follows the same pattern. God may be working beneath the surface in ways you cannot yet understand. He may be arranging opportunities you've never imagined. He may be protecting you from problems you cannot see. He may be connecting people and preparing circumstances that will eventually lead to your breakthrough. Just because the evidence hasn't appeared doesn't mean the miracle isn't already in motion. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply refusing to give up. It's continuing to pray when heaven feels quiet. It's continuing to work when no one notices. It's continuing to love even after disappointment. It's continuing to believe even after failure. Real faith doesn't ignore reality. Real faith simply refuses to let reality become the final word. Faith says, I don't understand everything that's happening, but I trust that God is leading me. A faith says, this chapter may be difficult, but it is not the end of my story. A faith says, I may not have all the answers today, but I know the one who holds tomorrow. There will always be voices telling you to quit. People may question your vision. Some may laugh at your dreams. Others may tell you to lower your expectations. Don't let their doubts become louder than God's promises. Not everyone will understand the journey God has called you to walk. And that's okay. You don't need everyone's approval. You only need the courage to keep moving forward. Every great breakthrough begins with someone who was willing to believe before anyone else could see the outcome. Before success becomes visible, it exists as hope. Before victory becomes reality, it exists as faith. Before doors open, someone keeps knocking. Before mountains move, someone keeps praying. That someone can be you. Maybe today you're standing in the middle of uncertainty. Maybe your circumstances haven't changed. Maybe your prayers haven't yet been answered. Maybe you're wondering whether God is still listening. If that's where you are, don't stop walking. Don't stop trusting. Don't stop preparing. Every faithful step matters. Every prayer matters. Every act of obedience matters. Even when no one applauds your perseverance, God sees every moment you choose faith over fear. And one day, what was invisible will become visible. The opportunity will arrive. The healing will come. The breakthrough will appear. The door you've been praying for will finally open. When that day comes, you'll realize that God was guiding your steps all along. You'll understand that every delay had a purpose. Every challenge made you stronger. Every moment of uncertainty deepened your trust. Every step taken in faith brought you closer to the life God had prepared for you. So don't wait until you see the evidence to believe. Choose to believe today. Choose to trust today. Choose to keep moving today. Because success and faith is not about seeing the whole journey. It is about taking the next step, knowing that God is already waiting ahead of you. Remember this powerful truth. Walk by faith before you see the evidence, because God's greatest miracles often begin long before your eyes can recognize them. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep moving forward. The breakthrough you've been praying for may be much closer than you think. F 55. Prepare yourself before the blessing arrives. Let me ask you a question. If God answered your biggest prayer today, would you truly be ready to receive it? It's a question many people never stop to consider. We spend so much time asking God for the blessing that we forget to prepare ourselves for the responsibility that comes with it. We pray for success. We pray for influence. We pray for financial freedom. We pray for healthy relationships. We pray for opportunities that can completely change our lives. But here's the truth. As God is not only interested in giving you a blessing, He is interested in making sure you are prepared to keep it. Because receiving a blessing is one thing. Being ready to manage it is another. Think about it. A person who dreams of becoming a leader must first learn humility. A person who prays for financial increase must first learn wisdom and discipline. A person who desires a healthy relationship must first become emotionally mature and capable of giving the same love they hope to receive. God often develops the person before He delivers the promise. That is why preparation is never wasted. Sometimes we think nothing is happening because we haven't yet received what we've been praying for. But behind the scenes, God may be preparing you in ways that are far more valuable than you realize. Every challenge is teaching you resilience. Every disappointment is strengthening your character. Every season of waiting is building patience. Every obstacle is developing wisdom. These are not delays. They are lessons that will become essential when your breakthrough finally arrives. Imagine an athlete preparing for the biggest competition of their life. They don't wait until the day of the event to start training. They prepare months, sometimes years, before anyone sees them standing on the podium. People celebrate the victory. Very few notice the countless early mornings, the discipline, the sacrifices, and the unseen effort that made the victory possible. The same principle applies to your life. Your preparation today is creating the foundation for tomorrow's success. If you're asking God for greater opportunities, begin developing greater discipline. If you're praying for a better future, become someone who is faithful with today's responsibilities. If you're asking for more influence, Learn to serve with excellence where you are right now. Never underestimate what God can do through small acts of faithfulness. Many people overlook today's opportunities because they are focused only on tomorrow's dreams. But God often watches what you do with little before He entrusts you with much. How you handle today's responsibilities reveals whether you're ready for tomorrow's blessings. Preparation also means changing your mindset. Stop thinking like someone who expects failure. Start thinking like someone who believes God is working on their behalf. Stop speaking words filled with fear. Start speaking words filled with faith, hope, gratitude, and expectation. Your thoughts shape your attitude. Your attitude influences your decisions. Your decisions create your future. That's why preparing your mind is just as important as preparing your skills. Another part of preparation is letting go of excuses. Excuses keep people comfortable, but they never move anyone closer to purpose. It's easy to say, "I'll start when everything is perfect. I'll become disciplined when life gets easier. I'll follow my purpose when I have more confidence." But perfect conditions rarely exist. The people who experience extraordinary breakthroughs are often the ones who choose to prepare even when circumstances are far from ideal. They continue learning. They continue growing. They continue serving. They continue improving, even when no one is watching. Even when no applause is coming. Even when the results aren't immediately visible. Because they understand something powerful. The preparation is an act of faith. Asset every book you read, every skill you develop, every prayer you pray, every habit you strengthen, every act of integrity, every moment of perseverance, every decision to keep going instead of giving up. These are all ways of telling God, "Who I believe you are preparing something greater, and I want to be ready when it arrives." Sir, don't allow discouragement to convince you that your efforts are meaningless. Nothing done with purpose is ever wasted. The discipline you're building today will support you tomorrow. The wisdom you're gaining today will guide you tomorrow. The character you're developing today will protect the blessings you receive tomorrow. There may be days when you wonder if all your preparation is worth it. You may feel unnoticed. You may feel like your progress is slow. You may question whether anything is changing. Keep preparing anyway, because one day, without warning, the opportunity you've been praying for will appear. The door you've been waiting to walk through will finally open. The breakthrough you've imagined will become reality. And when that moment comes, people may call you lucky. They may say your success happened overnight. But you will know the truth. You'll know it was built through countless quiet days of preparation. You'll know it was strengthened by every lesson learned in difficult seasons. You'll know it was shaped through every prayer, every sacrifice, every act of obedience, and every moment when you chose faith over fear. That's how God often works. He prepares the person long before He reveals the promise. So don't waste this season wishing your life were different. Use this season to become stronger, become wiser, become more disciplined, become more faithful. Become the kind of person who is ready, not just to receive the blessing, but to honor God with it and use it to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Remember this powerful truth: prepare yourself before the blessing arrives, because when God's perfect timing meets a prepared heart, extraordinary things begin to happen. Don't wait for the opportunity to become ready. Become ready now, and when the blessing comes, you'll be able to step into it with confidence, wisdom, gratitude, and unwavering faith. 6:6. Your greatest test is about to become your greatest testimony. Let me ask you something. What if the very struggle you've been asking God to remove is the same struggle He plans to use to reveal His greatest work in your life? It's hard to believe that when you're in the middle of pain, when you're fighting battles no one else can see, when you're carrying burdens that seem too heavy, when you've cried silent tears and wondered if anyone truly understands what you're going through. In those moments, it's easy to ask, "God, why me?" But perhaps a better question is, ask God, "What are you teaching me through this?" Because here's a life-changing truth. As every great testimony begins as a difficult test, no one tells a story about the easy days. People are inspired by the moments when someone refused to give up. They remember the person who kept believing after disappointment. They remember the one who stood firm when everything around them was falling apart. They remember the individual who chose faith instead of fear. Your greatest testimony is not being written during your moments of comfort. It is being written during the moments when life challenges everything you believe. Think about gold. Before it shines with incredible beauty, it must first pass through intense fire. The fire doesn't destroy the gold. It removes everything that doesn't belong. In the same way, life's greatest tests often remove pride, fear, selfishness, doubt, and dependence on temporary things. What remains is a stronger faith, deeper wisdom, greater humility, and an unshakable trust in God. That process isn't comfortable, but it is incredibly valuable. Sometimes we ask God to make life easier. Instead, He chooses to make us stronger, because strength built through struggle lasts far longer than comfort gained without effort. Every challenge you face is developing something inside you that success alone could never teach. Hardship teaches patience. Failure teaches humility. Waiting teaches endurance. Disappointment teaches perseverance. Loss teaches gratitude. Every difficult season leaves behind a lesson that becomes part of your character. One day, you'll discover that what seemed like your greatest setback was actually preparing you for your greatest purpose. Have you noticed that storms reveal what calm days cannot? When everything is going well, it's easy to say you have faith. But when life becomes uncertain, when prayers seem unanswered, when the future feels unclear, that's when you discover how deeply your faith is rooted. Storms don't create weakness. They reveal where strength needs to grow. And every storm you survive leaves you stronger than before. Don't believe the lie that your pain has no purpose. Nothing in God's hands is wasted. Not a single tear, not a single sleepless night, not a single disappointment, not a single prayer whispered in desperation. God sees every moment. Even when you feel invisible, even when no one else notices your struggle, even when it feels like you're walking alone, He is present in every step of the journey. Sometimes we expect God to remove every obstacle from our path, but often He walks beside us through the obstacle instead. Why? Because some lessons can only be learned by walking through the valley. Some strengths can only be developed by carrying difficult burdens. Some victories become meaningful only because they required courage to achieve. The person you are becoming during this season is more valuable than the comfort you're temporarily missing. That's why you must never allow today's struggle to define tomorrow's identity. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your disappointments. You are not your broken moments. Those experiences are chapters in your story. They are not the title of your life. God's plans for you are always bigger than your worst day. Maybe today you feel like giving up. Maybe you're exhausted from fighting battles that seem endless. Maybe you've reached the point where you're wondering whether anything will ever change. If that's you, hear this clearly. Don't quit in the middle of the story. The chapter you're living right now is not the final chapter. The pain you're experiencing today is not the final destination. God is still writing your story. And some of the most beautiful chapters are often written after the darkest nights. One day, someone will ask how you found the strength to keep going. They'll wonder how you remained hopeful when everything seemed impossible. They'll want to know how you overcame the fear, the uncertainty, and the pain. And that's when your testimony will begin. You'll be able to say, I didn't make it because I was the strongest person in the room. So I made it because God gave me strength when I had none. I kept moving when I wanted to stop. I kept believing when I couldn't see the outcome. I trusted Him through every difficult season, and He never stopped working in my life. That testimony will carry more power than any words you could ever plan. Because people may question your opinions, they may doubt your advice, but they cannot deny a life that has been transformed. Your story has the power to restore hope in someone who feels hopeless. Your perseverance can inspire someone who is ready to quit. Your faith can encourage someone who is struggling to believe. Your breakthrough can become proof that difficult seasons do not last forever. So don't be ashamed of the battles you've faced. Don't hide the scars that God has healed. Those scars are not signs of defeat. They are reminders that you survived. They are evidence of God's faithfulness. They are proof that what tried to break you ultimately made you stronger. Keep trusting, keep praying, keep growing, keep believing. Because the struggle you're facing today is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a testimony that will inspire lives you may never even meet. And remember this powerful truth: your greatest test is about to become your greatest testimony. The pain that once made you question everything will one day become the very reason someone else finds hope. Stay faithful, stay courageous, and never give up, because God is turning your trials into triumph, your wounds into wisdom, and your greatest battle into your greatest victory. Thus says an ending of speech. As I leave you with one final thought today, remember this: your life can change in a single moment, but the journey to that moment is where God prepares your heart, your character, and your faith. Don't lose hope because of what you cannot see. Don't give up because the journey has been longer than you expected. Every prayer you've prayed, every tear you've cried, every lesson you've learned, and every step you've taken in faith has a purpose. God is still working behind the scenes. He is opening doors you cannot yet see, removing obstacles you don't even know exist, and preparing blessings greater than anything you have imagined. Your responsibility is not to know every detail of the future. Your responsibility is to remain faithful today. So keep believing when others doubt. Keep praying when heaven seems silent. Keep moving forward when the road feels uncertain. Keep becoming the person God created you to be. Every delay is preparing you. Every challenge is strengthening you. Every test is shaping your testimony. If you're listening to this today, take it as a reminder that your current season is not your final destination. The struggle you're facing is temporary, but God's promises are eternal. Your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Don't quit just before the miracle. Don't stop just before the victory. Don't lose faith just before the blessing. Walk out of here with confidence. Walk out with hope. Walk out knowing that the same God who has carried you this far will never leave you now. Trust His timing. Follow His direction. Keep your heart full of gratitude, your mind full of faith, and your eyes fixed on the future He has prepared for you. Because one day, you'll look back on this season and realize that what felt like the hardest chapter of your life was actually the beginning of your greatest story. God is about to change everything in your life. Believe it, prepare for it, walk in faith toward it. And when that new season arrives, give Him all the glory. May God bless you, strengthen you, and guide every step you take. Thank you, and never stop believing that your best days are still ahead. Touch.